Well, happy MFing Monday, everybody. Welcome to a impromptu little bitchuation room here on a Monday on the precipice of another US quagmire in the Middle East that this time is really going to work out. Thank you guys so much for being here. I want to thank myself first and foremost because I don't want to be here. I don't want to go live every day. I don't want to cover all this news. Full disclosure, I want to do comedy. I want to fucking chill. I don't want to have to talk about all of the insanity. And if I do, I would like, a bigger team. I would like some more help. I'm just starting off really really just coming back from vacation, like why have I chosen this life? Why has this life chosen me? The point is, thank you. And thank you, Benjamin Morrill, for gifting a sub. Thank you for anyone who's supported this show. Number one, off the bat, we are going to be talking about, obviously, Iran, what is happening, what the US did over the weekend. What did you do? And this is sort of a preamble for tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to be talking about Iran even more. And that will be a real show, if you will. But I wanted to just get some stuff out of the way because I know how little time our Tuesday shows often have. So right off the bat, thank you guys so much for being here. And thanks, I'm going to try to collect my thoughts and information. We're going to dig into the latest, the Iran's retaliation, what the Iranian foreign minister is saying, on and on and on. If we have time and if we're joined by a special guest, we may be talking about the New York City mayoral race. Go vote, New York. Early voting is on. Tomorrow is the election. That is when you vote. Ranked choice. Do not rank Cuomo. We'll talk about that tomorrow as well. So it'll be just sort of an ongoing situation, almost like a daily show. First and foremost, though, I was away for a week and I left the world. I left the Frantifa with a deep dive piece called The World After Trump, or basically, what do the broligarchs want? They have Trump. They own Trump. They're making hand over fist money thanks to Donald Trump and his crypto AI, get rich or die trying / kill everyone else while you do it. And I take us through sort of who these broligarchs are, from Peter Thiel to people like Brian Armstrong of Coinbase, to people like Balaji Srinivasan, who believe in privatized cities, to, of course, their guru, Curtis Yarvin. Give that a watch if you haven't. Watch it on YouTube, on my channel, youtube.com/FrannyFio. You can also watch it or listen to it as a podcast if you prefer. It's a 28-minute deep dive. And shout out right now to Brent, Godin, my editor, to Marissa Cruz, who did the animations, who is someone who worked on the animations while I was at AJ Plus doing similar content for Newsbroke. And so I'm so thrilled that I was able to work on that for y'all. And I hope there is more coming. But again, those longer deep dives are something that I've always wanted to get back to, but it is a ton of work. And another person who helped out with that was Paige Oamek. Just really crushed it on the research and has always been wanting to talk about, the impact and the influence of the, tech fascists on our politics. And it's something we've tried to cover through our guests, but I really attempted to distill it, to sum it all up, and to talk about how these fools are not going anywhere. So give that a watch, holler at it. And thank you so much. Terry Poole, glad to hear from a sane person. I'm trying to keep my sanity, and I don't know if that is a little bit of being facetious, because I'm barely hanging on. So let's get into it, guys, because what we all thought would happen, what seemed likely to happen, happened, which is that the United States bombed Iran in 3 different locations using the biggest weapons that the United States has other than nukes. Remember, there was discussion to possibly use a light nuke. And instead, they use B-52 bombers, bunker buster bombers. They go deep in the ground and they are very destructive. And that happened on Saturday. And mind you, all of this, the preamble to this was that Donald Trump was negotiating a deal. He was negotiating an Iran deal with Iran. He was doing the same thing, that he's done with a bunch of policies, with Biden policies, with Obama policies. He'll just write his name over it because he didn't like that it had Obama's name on it. He wants to make a so-called better deal, but it's really just the same deal. Steve Witkoff was scheduled to meet, I think today, with Iranian leaders. They were talking about restarting negotiations, and I guess Netanyahu was the last one on the phone. And as we know, the Israeli lobby, in addition to Netanyahu, they like to make a lot of calls. They have been haranguing congresspeople all through the weekend. And it seems like maybe they got their way because we all know the last person to talk to Donald Trump is the person who he listens to the most. And we also know that at the end of the day, Donald Trump, let's be real, just like Joe Biden, is a bitch for Bibi. That's it. He's a bitch. He rolled over. There's nothing about this that projects any kind of strength. You had your people in the Middle East. You could have been organizing, and you were organizing some kind of peace deal. And now you're like, oh no, we're going to bomb them. And now we want peace. And this is sort of the diverging pathways between likely what Israel wants and what Donald Trump says he wants. But again, what does he want other than a lukewarm fillet of fish and a round of golf? We don't know. My man just turned 79 in the biggest birthday flop we've ever seen, okay? Your squeaky ass tanks, he's sad. He's old. His diaper is full. All right? He doesn't want to be in the driver's seat. And you know who wants to be in the driver's seat? Israel. So we'll talk about exactly what happened. The U.S. apparently used about 125 military aircraft. We don't know the scale of the damage. Again, I don't want to say that, because it didn't look like a giant black hole. There's satellite imagery that, nothing was destroyed. No, a lot of the damage was done, obviously, underground. Who knows whether, nuclear nuclear facilities were removed from these sites ahead of time, 3 different sites that were bombed. And this has been sort of the line, right? The line from the Trump administration is we're just there to destroy nuclear capacities. Now, here's the deal. We all know in the preamble to all this also that Donald Trump openly said that the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, was incorrect. That basically she's not on our signal chats, okay? Even though she testified and even though she knows, and even though former Trump officials also testified that Iran was not developing a weapon, you're not on our signal chat, okay? We've got all the emojis on our signal chat. So Tulsi Gabbard gets sidelined. Mind you, this is Tulsi, Let's Stop Forever Wars Gabbard, who then was sort of left groveling and said, I never said Iran wasn't developing a nuclear weapon. I stand with Donald Trump because of course, I'm going to get left at the door. I'm not going to be in the room. I'm not even going to be within negotiations. I'm not on that signal chat, but I stand with my president because that's what it is. That's the way the Trump administration runs. It is a administration full of sycophants. And if they're not sycophants, they are opportunists. They go where the money is. They go where they're going to get the most cred and the most accolades. And that's exactly what Tulsi Gabbard traded any principles that she ever had. I am not of the school of thought that Tulsi was ever good. So it's like, oh, what'd you trade it? Nah. She's also a raging Islamophobe. Let's put that in tally it over here on the number of Islamophobes that we'll talk about in a little bit. She hates forever wars, but she really also wants to rid the war in the Middle East of so-called Muslim extremists, right? So the question is it regime change or is it what they're saying it is, which is the nuclear targeting of the nuclear sites? which again, don't have a weapon. Now, Trump and not Trump, sorry, the Trump administration is basically saying, no, it is absolutely just about going after the nuclear sites. What are you talking about? You're crazy. This is not regime change. This is not a forever war. We're just going to bomb them and nothing is going to happen. Well, something already did happen. And in response, Iran attacked the biggest U.S. military base in the Middle East, which is the Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, which is incredibly upsetting to, well, number one, to Qataris, to a lot of the people in the region, in the Gulf, and probably to people working on that large military base. Thankfully, none of the missiles actually hit their target. They had missile defense systems, but nevertheless, that was the retaliation. That was the action. And yet, the attacks from Israel and the Iranian attacks on Israel, those continue. 400 people have been killed in Iran by Israeli missile strikes, 3,000 injured, and 24 people in Israel have died. Massive attacks in Haifa and other cities, right? So that's all continuing. So while Iran and Israel are trading missiles, right? Iran now has targeted not just military bases, but and obviously was the one that wanted the nuclear sites attacked because they don't have the bombs to do that. They also added bombing roads and airstrips and anything that leads up to either Iranian military facilities for their ability to retaliate or ability to access those nuclear sites after the fact, even to assess the damage. So that's what's been happening. That is what has been happening. Now, as to the what's the official line, it seems like the Trump administration and Donald Trump himself are a little bit out of step on this. Whereas the administration says, this is not, you guys are insane, okay? This is not about regime change. This is not another forever war. This is just in and out, quick. We're going to get rid of the nuclear capacity and then they're going to enter into an agreement and it'll be all hunky dory. And yeah, well, you can bet your ass that is not what is going to happen. But let's take a listen to the smattering of little sycophants and what their line is, right? What they've been told to say.
So this mission was a very precise mission. It had three objectives, three nuclear sites. It was not attack on Iran. It was not an attack on the Iranian people. This wasn't a regime change move. This was designed to degrade and or destroy three nuclear sites related to their nuclear weaponization ambitions. So this mission was a very precise mission. It had three objectives, three nuclear sites. It was not attack on Iran. It was not an attack on the...
So that's Marco Rubio. Not attack on Iran, not attack on the Iranian people. Our business is not with you. And like, you could definitely understand that. Like, imagine if, if Iran attacked American nuclear facilities, or attacked like our energy production, right? Because at this point, that's what Iran uses nuclear power for, is nuclear energy. And just imagine if they, wanted to attack a nuclear facility in Colorado or like an oil rig off the coast of Louisiana. And then they said, this is not about the American people. This is about, just your energy and like, your autonomy and stuff. We'd be like, that's so okay with us. No biggie. Cool. Oh, you just wanted to attack our energy supply? Dope. Yeah. I get it. You don't have a problem with me. Come on now. But I love that. I love the sort of like, oh, we don't, no, we don't. It's not what you think it is, okay? Me killing you is not actually your death. Here's JD Vance.
But our view has been very clear that we don't want a regime change. We do not want to protract this or build this out any more than it's already been built out. We want to end their nuclear program, and then we want to talk to the Iranians about a long-term settlement here. We believe very strongly that there are two pathways. There's a pathway where Iran continues to fund terrorism, continues to try to build a nuclear program, attacks American troops. That's the bad pathway for Iran, and it will be met with overwhelming force.
Okay, my guy, what? Okay, so what pathway do you think you just went down, homie? What pathway do you think you chose? Attacking our troops, funding, other organizations abroad, developing a nuclear weapon. What pathway do you think you forced Iran down? You force them down that very fucking pathway. I mean, I feel like we're having a who's on first discussion. I mean, again, the gaslighting, as I mentioned on Instagram recently, but the gaslighting is coming at us so much faster than it was in 2003 under Bush. It is so much less practiced and rehearsed. It is, again, Iraq with no lube. There is no foreplay in this. It is bam, 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 bam. And again, but again, it will be like the worst sex of your life and last forever, because that is exactly what an Iran quagmire will look like for the US. But this is him again saying, look, it's just so easy. It's going to be super, super easy. There's two paths. They just can choose a path.
Our view groups, that's the bad pathway for Iran, and it will be met with overwhelming force. There's another pathway on the table here. There's a pathway where Iran integrates itself into the international community, stops funding terrorism, and stops trying to pursue a nuclear weapon.
Okay, here's what's funny about all of the lies he just said. Iran is more in compliance with the international order and international law than Israel, number one. Hello. And number two, the United States, which just did an illegal act of aggression on a sovereign nation that was party to the Non-Proliferation Treaty, that was subject to IAEA, Atomic Energy Administration, or whatever it is. The International Atomic Energy Agency's inspections, they were already party to that. You know who's not? Israel. Israel is not party to that. You know who just violated international law? The United States. So again, this is there's no escaping this. It does remind me of Iraq, but again, it's like the gaslighting is so much quicker, and also because again, in 2003, it's like there were no options. It was very clear that they wanted to go to war. It was very clear that no matter what Saddam Hussein said, what they did, what the international community said, it was like, we're just going to do this. The only difference is you had Colin Powell out there, trotted outside, out of the United Nations in front of them saying like, hey, let's talk about anthrax. You know what I mean? And he was like trotted out to get the UN on board. That's the difference. And look, these are the technicalities that I would argue are technicalities and not actually political positions that we need to be fighting for. Because at the end of the day, even if you went before the UN and you strong-armed everyone to think that you should attack Iran, that's still a fucked up war, just like it was in Iraq. Anyway, so that is JD Vance saying that, this is not about regime change. It's just two equally bad faith paths that I've set up just now in front of the Iranian regime. And here's Pete Hegseth arguing the exact same thing. This is not about regime change. This is about getting those nuclear facilities, which, again, they say have weapons capabilities, but do not.
Yeah. So is regime change off the table, Mr. Secretary? And to the chairman, you said the battle damage assessment is still ongoing, but do you believe that some nuclear capability in Iran remains?
This mission was not and has not been about regime change. The president authorized a precision operation to neutralize the threats to our national interests posed by the Iranian nuclear program and the collective self.
Oh, I just stopped that. Sorry. Here we go.
The threats to our national interests posed by the Iranian nuclear program and the collective self-defense of our troops and our ally Israel.
Yeah. Our the self-defense of our troops, who I've just put in harm's way, and who just had a barrage of missiles fired at them in Qatar. So definitely thinking about them. Also, let's be real, our troops that have been under fire since what? Since the United States all-out support of a genocidal slaughter of the Palestinian people. U.S. troops and U.S. trade have already been the subjects of retaliatory attacks from Iran, from the Houthis, from other groups. So, like, this is literally all just blowback. And so, miss me with this fake care, like, oh, all of a sudden, like, we're thinking about our troops. No, you're not. We know you're not. And just to say, like, well, I don't know who is talking about regime change. Nobody's talking about regime change. Who's talking about regime change? No. Who's talking about regime change other than the president? Okay, but like, he's just a president, not like he does nothing. Here's Donald Trump on Truth Social. It's not politically correct to use the term regime change, but if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change? And get ready for this, please. MIGA. Make Iran great again. And that's just funny. Like, that actually is funny. Like, I'm just gonna give it to him. Like, that's fucking hilarious that he's saying, he has put the phrase MIGA out into the universe, people, and we can't unsee it or hear it. And if you speak Spanish, MIGA means crumb, which is even funnier, to be like, oh yeah, Iran's gonna be crumb again. Make it a fucking crumb. And by the way, I'm just MIGA, man. MIGA. I don't know, dude. MIGA is your guy. You know what I'm saying? And MIGA, and everyone is also saying, like, MIGA sounds like make Israel great again, right? Which is kind of a play on words, considering Greater Israel is the Israeli government and the extremists, the religious zealots within Israeli society and within Israeli parliament, the Knesset, that do want to expand Israel. And this is part of why they so deeply hate Iran, because they cannot imagine that there is a country that has an equal amount of influence in the region, that is, doesn't have nuclear weapons, but is a huge cultural force, is an economic force. 92 million people live there, right? They hate that. That is an affront to them trying to control the region, right? This is their Greater Israel plans. But MIGA has been out there. And can I just also say that this whole operation, this attack on Iranian nuclear facilities, was named Operation Midnight Hammer. And yeah, I was like, who came up with that title? Who came up with that? And you're like, it was the drunk. Leave it to a drunk to be like, hey, Operation Midnight Hammered. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was Pete Hegseth. It was Petey. And again, no disrespect to alcoholics. Everyone needs help sometimes. But, like, that's just him. Midnight Hammered, bro. Hell yeah. Fired off on the Signal. How much did they workshop that? How much did they workshop that on the Signal chat? Which, once again, they're still using Signal chats. There's been we just blew past Signalgate. Let's talk about what the Iranian regime is saying. And look, government. If we're going to say regime, we're going to say Trump regime. Let's not buy into this BS. But my B. Here he is. The
Islamic Republic of Iran condemns in the strongest terms the United States' brutal military aggression against Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities. It is an outrageous, grave, and unprecedented violation of the fundamental principles of the Charter of the United Nations and international law. The warmongering and lawless administration in Washington is solely and fully responsible for the dangerous consequences and far-reaching implications of its act of aggression. While President Trump was elected on a platform of putting an end to America's costly involvement of forever wars in our part of the world, he has betrayed not only Iran by abusing our commitment to diplomacy, but also deceived his own voters by submitting to the wishes of a wanted war criminal who has grown accustomed to exploiting the lives and wealth of American citizens to further the Israeli regime's objectives.
Oh, baby, we are in a game of regime change chicken because, like, I'm just going to throw it out right now. I think the U.S. will have a new regime before Iran. We're going to take bets. But I think that the U.S. will have a new regime before Iran. This is what I hope. But this was the foreign minister basically like, he's playing all y'all. He's playing with your money. He is playing with his, so-called anti-war stance, which I'm going to talk about, put a pin in that. But he's kind of calling us in/out, right? This is his version of, this is not a fight I'm having with the American people. Even though they didn't attack us, they didn't even attack Israel first. Remember, all of this stems from Israel attacking Iran this time around. Okay, killing nuclear scientists this time around. They've been killing nuclear scientists before, and they were the ones who killed Ismail Haniyeh in Syria, and striking Lebanon. Sorry, not in Syria. In the Syrian embassy in Tehran, in Iran. So, like, they've already attacked Iranian soil many times over, many different ways. This is just the most recent and the most escalated form of it. And so here's the foreign minister of Iran saying, look, he's a wanted war criminal. You talk about international law. Netanyahu's a wanted war criminal. And that's who was the last person to whisper in Trump's ear on Friday night, hey, babe, you up? And we all saw what happened.
We're now calculating the damages. And as I said, the damages are not only for our nuclear facilities. The damages are for the United Nations Charter. It was not only Iran's facilities which was bombed, it was also the United Nations Charter. It was also non-proliferation regime and NPT, which was bombed last night by Americans. And it was the rule of law and international law which was bombed. So now we have to see how much room is left for diplomacy, and we will decide.
Okay. So there you have it from the Iranian government. They're going to assess the damage. And of course, we know they attacked the U.S. military base in Qatar earlier this morning. And the real, the question is, will the United States retaliate for that action? It seems like maybe they're not going to do that. Let's see. So here he is. Truthing out. Iran has officially responded to our obliteration of their nuclear facilities with a very weak response, which we expected and have very effectively countered. There have been 14 missiles fired, 13 were knocked down, and one was set free because it was headed to a non-threatening direction. I love that someone explained that a missile was set free, and he was like, it went to go live its life on a farm upstate. I'm pleased to report that no Americans were harmed and hardly any damage was done. Most importantly, they've gotten it all out of their system, and there will hopefully be no further hate, capital H-A-T-E. I want to thank Iran for giving us early notice, which made it possible for no lives to be lost and nobody to be injured. Perhaps Iran can now proceed to peace and harmony in the region, and I will enthusiastically encourage Israel to do the same. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Please proceed with the 10 other wars we have ensuing, the ones on the people of Los Angeles, hello, the ones on the disabled, the ones on the sick, the ones on the ones on the children and the women in this country, the ones on the seniors and anyone receiving Social Security and Medicare, the ones on our national parks. Please proceed with the normal destruction of the government. So, is this it? I'd like to thank the respected Emir of Qatar for all he's done in seeking peace in the region. I.e., please don't kick us out. That'd be awkward. Congratulations, world. It's time for peace. Now, if you thought that mission accomplished, George W., banner, like that wasn't cringy enough, which we didn't even have really the word cringe, but I do feel like maybe the Trump administration, the Bush administration helped really develop that word cringe. Congratulations, world. It's time for peace is perhaps the saddest claim of victory since mission. This is his mission accomplished. Done with his dumbass avatar with his fucking face with the American flag on it, looking like he's, tailgating at some fucking football game. Like, this is so pathetic. And here's the reality of all of it, right? This doesn't stop. You know why? Because Iran will certainly have a nuke. That is what all of the experts have been saying. That is what Trita Parsi, who's been on my show, have said. That Iran most certainly now will be developing a nuclear weapon in order to defend themselves. Because if this is what it looks like when they don't have a nuclear weapon, and this is the kind of thanks they get for trying to enter into negotiations, for having complied with the joint resolution of non-proliferation and the NPT and whatever. No, they are most certainly, and the hardliners in Iran, which we all have to remember, just like we have hardliners in the United States, they have hardliners there. They will most certainly try to get a nuke because it seems to be the only way you can get left the fuck alone. It's the only way. I don't advocate for it. I'm not saying it's good. I think we should all disarm. Disarm now, especially the United States, right? But that is what we are pushing Iran to do. That is the entire lesson, not just for Iran, but for nations around the world is, oh, shoot, we got to get a nuke because motherfuckers are crazy. They are crazy. Now, the real thing is the mutually assured destruction method assumes you don't have a man who has, again, just like the mushiest brain and the most Islamophobic and hateful cabinet possible, backed by a whole establishment of neocons, of a media ecosystem that loves to beat the drums for war, of your David Frums, right, out there going like, I can't wait to tour, I think, was it him? Can't wait to tour a free Iran. Shut up. Right? Anderson Cooper's now in the cutoff sleeves. He's going for it, right? They're like, yes, is it wartime? CNN's like, wartime. They're all for, they're interviewing all the generals. They just like CNN has all the generals in a closet. And they're like, what? Huh? Another Middle East intervention. Let's go. Right? The same way they have them, they have like the MAGA ladies. You know how there's always CNN MAGA ladies who are like, what? Oh, I have to my opinions. Well, yeah, I think Trump is just whatever he does is good, and you should just lock them all up. Where's my money? Like that's CNN has the MAGA ladies, and CNN has their war colonels, former generals who are pro-war, and not all the generals who are against war, or the veterans. Heaven forbid we interview a fucking vet. Heaven forbid the first person we talk to whenever we talk about another intervention in the Middle East would be a vet. Maybe just ask them how it was. Ask a vet who was sent to Iraq, who saw his friends murdered before his very eyes and blown to bits. Ask someone who's disabled. Ask someone who fought a war on behalf of Dick Cheney and Halliburton. My God. Oh, also, if you could just please keep the oil prices low, guys. Could you just, Trump would really like you to, everyone, keep the oil prices down, he truthed. I'm watching. You're playing into the hands of the enemy. Don't do it. Ooh-ee. This is great. Everyone, please keep the oil prices down. Oh, okay. Hey, my cat is around here somewhere. Hey, Chitty, keep the oil prices down, okay? I'm watching you. That's what I tell my kid. This morning, I was like, we're back from vacation. And I was like, honey, I got to go back to daycare, but also keep the oil prices down. Okay? I'm watching you. You keep what I say, don't touch the oil price. Like we literally are like yelling at a cat that's about to push something off of a counter. So anyway, we definitely have smart people in charge, and to that effect, here is JD Vance saying that we have smart people in charge, and no need to worry about a broader war because we're smart. We are the smarties. Other people who've tried regime change in the Middle East are the dummies.
And the second thing is, Kristen, I certainly empathize with Americans who are exhausted after 25 years of foreign entanglements in the Middle East. I understand the concern, but the difference is that back then we had dumb presidents, and now we have a president who actually knows how to accomplish America's national security objectives. So this is...
No, this is the most amazing sentence that's ever been uttered. I really deeply empathize with all the people who are sick of 25 years of, ill-gotten ventures in the Middle East, and me as a veteran. But the difference is they were stupid. They were dumb. They were like fake and gay. And like this president, he like totally fucks, he like knows what he's doing. Okay. He got a sword from the Saudis. Okay. Now, this is when we need to talk about actual regime change and the real problem of the reason it's so bad. The reason regime change is still on the table is, number one, Donald Trump tweeted about it, even if he just tweeted like, it's all done. Peace. Enjoy your peace. But number two, that's not what Netanyahu wants. Netanyahu doesn't want you to just bomb a couple of nuclear facilities and go home. Netanyahu wants regime change. Netanyahu wants Iran under his thumb or be able to collaborate and work with Iran. Netanyahu wants to make sure that Iran can help him completely erase the Palestinian people, top to bottom. We're doing it in Gaza. Got to do it in the West Bank. Who knows? We might keep pushing up into Lebanon, this time for good. Iran needs to help us in that plan. So, oh, you're so cute how you think it's over now. And the reason it's actually not over is because the missile exchanges between Iran and Israel specifically is not fucking over. And as soon as Israel feels like, oh, gee, maybe this is going to be over, they will make sure it is not by continuing to bomb, by continuing to assassinate, by continuing, obviously, to do genocide on the people of Palestine. So, like, this is amazing that this president, that the people around him think, oh, well, so we got goaded into this one attack on Iran, but that's it. That's it, because it's all done. It's all over now. It's not going to be over. And I just want to name that it's important when anyone in the media framing this war needs to understand how much restraint the Iranian government has shown up until this point, right? We all know how much restraint they've had to show. Has Israel done anything to restrain itself? Absolutely not. Has the US done anything to restrain Israel by limiting weapons? Well, there was a one time when Biden was like, well, no 2,000-pound bombs to kill civilians. You can have 1,000-pound bombs to kill civilians in refugee camps. They're living in tents, really. It should be quite easy. And it was. So it's not going anywhere. There's always the mission creep, and Netanyahu will make sure that the mission creep continues to creep into regime change. And when you see, and I realize this is okay, when you see people like the co-founder of Palantir, the tech surveillance military contracting company that is currently underway creating a massive database to surveil all immigrants in this country, and on top of that, all Americans in this country. We're talking, I don't know, $500 million of worth of contracts or more. I think their contract alone with the DoD is $475 million, something like this, right? When that co-founder is going on CNBC, and yeah, this was 2 days ago, and he's saying shit like this is how we know this is not over.
The reality here that people, if you want to understand Iran versus other places, is the people of Iran, the Persian people, the Kurds, the others there, they're much more natural allies of the Jews, of USA, of the West. This was a very modern country before it was conquered by these insane theocrats.
That's exactly what I would say.
That's a very important point to understand.
They were going to throw flowers at us in Iraq. That never happened.
Yeah, well, and I'm not saying they're going to throw flowers at us here, but this is a lot different situation. And it's I work with a lot of amazing Persian people. I'm really excited to invest in Iran if we can get this country to be some sort of republic, not run by crazy people. And that's a lot easier than doing that in Afghanistan or somewhere else.
Well, so
it's a lot easier, says Tech Finance Bro. It's a lot easier to Americanize Iran than it is Afghanistan or Iraq. Why? Isn't it like 3 times the size of those countries? Why would it be easier? Why? The religious extremists that you talk about are there because there was a revolution against a US-backed dictator called the Shah. You don't remember this? They didn't teach you that in business school? Maybe you need a little bit more grease on your fucking scalp and you'll understand that. But this is the way that these are the backers of MAGA. You think Donald Trump listens to some random person? You think Donald Trump, I'm sorry, he doesn't listen to Steve Bannon or Alex Jones. Why? Because they're not paying him. He's listening to guys like this, Joe Lonsdale, co-founder of Palantir, the VCs that have invested in him, the VCs that are like, you know what I could do? I could really do with the new Iran. If you could just topple that for me, that'd be sick. Yeah, man. That's who. This is a company whose stock price, Palantir stock prices have increased, 150% since Trump got assumed office. Look, it's the modern day Halliburton. It's the modern day Bechtel. It's all of the private contractors and companies. It's the modern day Blackwater. But Eric Prince is still around. That's who's going to be getting rich, to say nothing of traditional weapons industries, Lockheed Martin and on and on and on, Raytheon. You think that shit's gone? No. So it's like you could be as anti-war as you want. Do you have the cash? I mean, add it to the psycho cash, right? Add this cash to your psycho cash, the psycho Zionist cash, which would be Miriam Adelson. You think Miriam Adelson the last few days hasn't been like, you've done such a good job, my boy. Here's another 20 million. Just a little something to wet your palate. Now get me the whole West Bank. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, man. That's what's happening. So look no further than the people licking their chops at this to know whether or not we're going to stay out or we're going to get involved. Now, let's go to the reaction from the right. Let's go to the reaction from there's no left in this country really in power, but let's go to the reaction from Democrats. Now, the people I just played you, Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, he's always been a hawk. Like that dude is like, well, where are we going next? We going to Venezuela, please? Like he's a total hawk. He's always been a hawk. He was called a never Trumper. He is a total neocon. So that's done, said and done. People like JD Vance, however, are people who said things like no more wars, no more forever wars, right? Tulsi Gabbard in the same book. All of these people have completely flipped. And the reason they flip is because of their proximity to power. And I would argue their proximity to the Israeli lobby. Now, you have to think about the people who are farther from that, the Israeli lobby, and are farther from power it might explain why their tune is different. I'm strictly talking about the right here. But in terms of, all the people who once said they were against war, this and that, no, man, they're all fallen in line. They've all fallen in line. Right now, what is trending on Twitter is, quote, "You were never MAGA." Now, maybe those are bots that are being bought, but there's also a lot of MAGA influencer, blue check types who are like, if you don't support Trump bombing Iran, you were never MAGA. You were never MAGA. You were never MAGA. And it's so funny because at the end of the day, folks, MAGA is a cult. That's all it is. There's nothing more. It is a cult. Okay. And not everyone who voted for Trump is MAGA. Okay. That's also a difference. Just like you might be tuning in, but you might like, I don't know if I'm Frantifa. But then there's some of you who are like, hell yeah, I'm Frantifa. You know what I'm saying? And support this show. Send in send in a super chat or two, or become a patron. Patreon.com/Bitchuation room, because I'm streaming on a Monday and I don't want to be. The point is all of these people have since completely flip-flopped on everything they once stood for. And for example, Charlie Kirk, who has been against wars, who has been against, has been a so-called isolationist. When the attacks happened 2 days ago, America stands with Trump. Yeah, what do you think he's talking about? He's talking about the wars. He's talking about the bombing of Iran. America stands with Trump. Then he quote tweets, Donald J. Trump, Iran's quest for nuclear weapons is a major threat to our nation's national security interests. We can't allow Iran to go nuclear. And Charlie Kirk quote tweets, when Trump speaks, you should listen. He's not telling us that. He's telling his own base that. He's telling the viewers of Charlie Kirk, of Turning Points and whatever, get on board. Get on board. And not only that, but we're back to war on terror language. Stay armed, stay vigilant. We have no idea how many sleeper cells are inside the United States. It's an unforgivable weakness Biden left this country with. Stay alert, pray. This shit is terrifying. Like, stay armed, Charlie Kirk says to his already armed base. We have no idea how many sleeper cells are inside the country. It's an unforgivable weakness Biden left this country with. Stay alert, pray. For who? Who are you talking about? Who? Iranian people? Iranian Americans? No, they are not a threat. Who are you talking about? No, we know who they're talking about, right? Anyone who's brown, but specifically Muslim, you wear hijab, you're a 6-year-old Palestinian boy outside of Chicago, stabbed to death however many times, you're a girl swimming in a pool and some random person tries to drown you because you seem Arab. We're back here, guys. We're back here. And again, so much of what the war on terror was about was not just about the loss of lives and the loss of, $3 trillion worth of debt. but it is a 20-year dehumanization of Arab and Muslim Americans in this country, that not just the weapons came home to roost in our police departments and our sheriff's departments that we see rolled out against peaceful protesters, whether for BLM or against ICE right now, but it's the Islamophobia that came back. It's the war on terror mindset that also came back, in addition to the endless PTSD, right? That's what has led to things like homegrown terrorism. That's what led to Donald Trump's election in the first place. That's what's led to mass shootings like in El Paso or in Buffalo, New York, specifically targeting people of color, specifically targeting Latinos, specifically targeting Black people. That's the real legacy. And October 7th just kicked all that up again on behalf of another nation, which again, there is no daylight between us and Israel. So Iran continuing to attack Israel and Israel continuing to attack Iran, there's no difference. When Israel says go, it's go time in this beta-ass administration that can't say boo to Netanyahu. And let's be real, beta-ass administration under Biden as well. But this is where the right is, largely. And again, Charlie Kirk is very powerful. He has a massive following. He has the ear to Republicans and the White House, just like, sorry to say, but Timu Melania, Laura Loomer, who, when this happened, President Trump saved Western civilization from a nuclear holocaust. Laura Loomer is a raging Islamophobe. That's where she got her start, is in freaking out about Sharia law. Laura Loomer is a product of all of that, right? She's got the ear of the president. She's close to him. She's going to fall in line. And so you're seeing, I don't know who this person is, but you're seeing random tweets, President Trump didn't lose a part of MAGA. Those who are turning on him now were never MAGA. Thank you for your attention on this matter. I don't know why we keep on thanking people for their attention. I really wish I could pay attention to anything else. And the people who are not in line with Donald Trump are getting reamed for it, right? Specifically, Thomas Massie. So here is Representative Massie. And he has introduced, I believe, a war powers resolution with Ro Khanna, which basically says, hey, yo, you've got to actually get congressional approval to go to war. You need congressional approval to attack nuclear sites in Iran, right? And here's Massie, and he had this whole interview with Face the Nation where he was pretty upfront about being against this war, about being against the attack of Iran. And this is very fun. This is just my favorite part of it, because he claims that there are still reasonable people in the administration. But this is the only Republican, y'all, who's, except for one other, who I will mention in a second, who is against what's happening. The only Republican that's elected.
What he promised us was we would put America first. And I think there are still voices in this administration. You've still got J.D. Vance. You've still got Tulsi Gabbard. You still, RFK Jr., you still got calmer heads that could prevail.
They were not.
Wait. He just claimed that the calmer heads in this administration are Tulsi Gabbard, who, even if you believe that, has been completely iced out of decision making. You've got J.D. Vance. Yeah, he's calm, but in a weird calculating, I'm about to murder you type way. J.D. Vance is just in this to launder whatever the hell Donald Trump says. He's got to stay there and keep in Donald Trump's good graces for as long as, Peter Thiel needs him to, until he can assume the presidency when Donald Trump tragically dies. Right? That's his job. These are the calmer heads. RFK Jr. is a calmer head. Yeah. That guy seems calm to me. I mean, I don't know what he's on. I don't know what blue methylene does to the body or roadkill, but I assume you feel calm when you taste tire on top of bear meat. I don't know. But these are guys, mark this down as a sign of the hell we're in when the calmer heads are RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard and JD Vance. Like, I actually kind of want to puke. Like that is terrifying to me. There's pushback, obviously.
Not persuasive in this case, clearly.
Well, somebody was persuasive. AIPAC is very persuasive. For instance, the Israeli lobby in Congress. If you look at my colleagues' feeds now, they all look the same. They're all tweeting the same message that we've got to support Israel and we've got to do this. My question is, does 3 bombings and we're
Wait,
done
hang on.
with
You gotta stop there, because Massie's saying, okay, what we do know is we do know who won out, and that's AIPAC. And like, you also have to hand it to a Republican for actually mentioning AIPAC. He's there calling him out, and clearly he doesn't take that money, or he hasn't in a while, or he is ignoring it, or for whatever reason, he's not in on that bag. And other people are. And he's willing to call it out because, of course, Congress has been harangued by AIPAC. Harangued by AIPAC on this, right? Very, very influential. And everyone who's going along with it absolutely receives that money.
Iran's nuclear ambitions. Is that the 2 weeks to slow the spread of 2025? Is this, we were told 2 weeks to slow the spread then. Now we're told it's just going to take 3 bombings. But what happens when Israel gets bombed again? Mm-hmm. Is Trump going to sit by and say, no, we're not going to further engage in this war?
I tried to get answers.
Apparently, that's what he thinks he can do. Donald Trump now saying, you're welcome, world. Enjoy your peace. Signing off, Abraham Lincoln. Like, and of course, for his betrayal, here is Benny Johnson, who is, again, another MAGA influencer, who also, BT Dubs, didn't he also meet with Bibi Netanyahu as part of the sort of Tim Pool right-wing shitfluencers who were like, hey, I mean, I'm sure Netanyahu was like, there might be a war coming up, and so we're going to need your help. You're going to need your help, Like, who's getting what money? I don't know. I'm not saying they definitely get money, but like, what's a couple mil, what's a few $100,000 thrown at some of these influencers to get them to launder your shit for you? And so Benny Johnson, hell yeah, President Trump is going scorched earth on Representative Thomas Massie. And Trump says, get this bum out of office ASAP. Get this bum out of office. That's his response to Massie saying, hey, you should follow the Constitution and allow Congress to vote on whether or not there's going to be war. Now, there's 2 other people on the right that have not budged on their anti-war stance. And I have a theory as to why, but I want to just flag and give them some credit and some props that they've been consistent in being anti-war. And one of them is an elected official, the only other elected official who is against, a Republican who is against what's happening, which is Marjorie Greene is pissed. She says, MAGA is not for foreign wars. We're not for regime change. We are for America first. The United States should not be involved in fighting nuclear-armed Israel's war with Iran. And she was on the War Room freaking out about this, telling Steve Bannon, who again is another person who's still against all this, what she thinks.
At all. That's for fixing our $37 trillion debt. That's fighting for border security. That's fighting for my kids, Steve. My kids are 22, 25, and 27. And I want them.
And none of them return my calls.
To have a future. And I am sick and tired of people like this. A lot of these people are going to be dead in 10 to 15 years. But my kids' future matters to me. And right now, their generation can't buy a house. They can't afford insurance. They can't get good paying jobs. They can't afford groceries. They can't afford to buy a car. They can't afford gas. They don't know if they're ever going to be able to save money for their retirement because they're barely making it paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah. So it's very interesting, right? That she's mad that there's money for war. And she's not mad that Republicans are currently trying to pass a bill, which she's also trying to pass, that is simply and quite literally a siphon from the poorest Americans to the billionaire class. That is all it is. This is to make way for a massive tax break on anyone earning more than $3 million a year. Yeah, $3 million. So yes, millionaires and billionaires. That's what's happening. That's why your kids can't save for retirement. Oh, also, what retirement? We're gutting Social Security, Marge, and now you're pissed? And so this is my whole thing about people who are right on one issue. Cool. Go away. I don't like, yeah, man, the reason they're mad is because they're not on the in. I've said this a million times. Bannon is pissed, not out of principle. Bannon super supports Israel. He's been asked about Israel. He supports Israel. Marjorie got a little Candace Owens in her. Marjorie got a little bit of that Kanye zhuzh. Marjorie got a little bit of that Alex Jones, je ne sais, anti-Semitism. Okay? These are just anti-Semites. I'm sorry to say it, but these are the people. Not only are they anti-Semites, they're raging Islamophobes, and you can be both. And they're not on the in either with AIPAC money, because look, if you're AIPAC and you're like getting all the, you're getting donations from, sort of like wealthy Zionists in the United States and abroad, and you're like, and we donate to Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's not going to fly. They're not, I mean, they do love to donate to Republicans, but just not that far. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason that some people are against this, and it's not on principle. And it's not for the bullshit reasons that she's laying out there. These are people who simply want to bring the war home. Los Angeles right now, still 2 weeks later, is under attack. Immigrants are being tackled at their workplaces, at car washes. I'm going to talk about this tomorrow on the show. But like, that's the war coming home, arresting Brad Lander, city comptroller of New York, arresting judges. That's all fine and good, man. So miss me with trying to work with any of these people. It's like, nah, they can work with themselves. I don't care. I'll be over here building an actual movement for liberation. I will be over here with the vast majority of us, with the vast majority of maybe people who voted for Trump, sure, who say no more war. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. And the reason I can't have a retirement or afford a home is because of the billionaire class completely swindling all of us. That's where it's at. So like, it's fun to see Alex Jones tweet what you voted for, what you got. I hope this is not the case. This was days before the attack. It's Donald Trump and then Donald Trump as Bush, which is deeply upsetting as an image, I will just say. Mostly because it makes me feel old and it makes me feel like this is like some sort of fever dream I've just had. So cool. All of the most psychotic conspiracy theorists are against this. All of the people who don't really have the president's ear. I will applaud the smallest applause. But for the people who actually have power, they're trying to hang Thomas Massie out to dry, and anyone who would speak out against this. Here's Mike Johnson.
But quickly with the war in Iran and Israel. Tom Massie is a Republican from Kentucky. He has joined several Democrats saying this is not our war. Even if it were, Congress must decide such matters according to our Constitution. Should we get further involved today?
Thomas Massie is on the wrong side of this, and I think that's very clear. We are in a defensive posture right now. The president is making the right decisions. Why? Because, Bill, we have to protect U.S. assets and obviously our personnel. We got 40,000 U.S. service members stationed in the region over there. That is what the president is doing. He's fully within his authority to act in that manner, and that is what the commander-in-chief is supposed to do. We have to stand by our ally Israel. They're our closest ally and friend, the only stable democracy in the region, and we have to make sure ensure that they can do the job they need to do to protect their citizenry. Iran was very close to nuclear capability. And President Trump has been crystal clear throughout his career in politics by saying that Iran can never have nuclear weapons. They would use it against Israel immediately, and they would use it against the U.S. if they could. So it had to be stopped. And I think most of the people in the world who think in common sense terms applaud that. The president wants peace in the region. He does not want to be a wartime president, but we have to protect our country.
But we have to protect our country that's not under threat, and our country that is Israel. And he lies. And he's smart. Okay? Anyone who knows Donald Trump can see and can hear. He's very smart. You know, everything is a projection on the right. Everything is a projection and I don't just mean the right in the US, but these are the dumbest people alive. These are the worst people. These people who are governing our country right now couldn't be more in over their heads than anyone has ever been at any time. Like, seriously. Like, I don't know. You taking the bar exam unannounced is less over their head than this administration. And number two, the only people who have nukes in this situation is Israel. And we all know it. And Bibi, over the last 30 years, has been saying that Iran's about to get a nuclear weapon. Iran's about to get a nuclear weapon. Iran's about to get a... Where is it? Where is it? It's not there. And your intelligence has shown that it's not there. You don't want an Iran deal, and you will kill and maim anyone who tries to bring you closer to that. And of course, you'll threaten Trump in different ways, but you'll mostly just shower him with praise and money and promise him all the jewels and riches. And if there is regime change, you know, Palantir's there to collect, and you'll get rich as well. Maybe Iran will be the first crypto-run government. You know what I'm saying? We won't even have to install a Shah. We'll just have an AI president. He'll be like, he's super steeped in Iranian culture, okay? Speaks the language perfectly. It's incredible. But is just an AI bot and is not real and loves Israel. Really into the house music scene over in Israel. So obviously that is Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, again, leader of the fucking party, saying, no, this is what we have to do. This is good. Everything's fine now. It's all peaceful. Don't you worry your pretty little head about it. Meanwhile, senators and congresspeople are trying to invoke the War Powers Act, trying to get that passed. Thomas Massie was doing that, co-sponsored with Ro Khanna. And Tim Kaine has introduced is now supporting the War Powers Resolution. That's Senator Kaine, obviously, and we'll see how many. He says that there's going to be Republicans who support him. We will see. But let's just talk about the Democrats really quickly, because it has to be said that this was the first statement that Hakeem Jeffries put out after the U.S. bombed Iran, and it was a bad one. This did not instill confidence. Iran is a sworn enemy of the United States and can never be allowed to become a nuclear-capable power, okay? Israel has the right to defend itself against escalating Iranian aggression. Their aggression? Whose aggression? Who started this? Our commitment to Israel's security remains ironclad. This is all the first paragraph, AIPAC approved, AIPAC written. Talking point, done. Second paragraph, the authority to declare war belongs solely to the United States Congress. President Trump and his administration must refrain from engaging in offensive military action in Iran without explicit approval of the House of Representatives and the Senate. Okay, getting closer to trying to claw back a little bit of democracy, a little bit of, hey, maybe you have power as the representative speaker. Okay, maybe not. Aggressive diplomacy resulting in a longer and stronger agreement that permanently halts Iran's nuclear aspirations is the most appropriate course of action at this time. Now, with all of these things, you lying in your first paragraph sets the stage for the rest of what you're saying to fall on deaf ears. It's a sworn enemy. Who says who? Who says who? Sworn enemy? What the fuck? Who is this fucking Princess Bride shit? What you mean? Sworn enemy? How? What's Iran done to me? Nothing. Okay? Can never be permitted to become a nuclear capable power. Okay. But they're not. Israel has a right to defend itself. Yeah, I've heard that again. Against Iranian aggression, which hasn't happened. So weird platitude, lies, and just our commitment to Israel. I mean, what is the difference between what he's saying here and what Trump is saying? They're doing aggressive diplomacy. That's also what they believe. The only difference is Congress. So what you're saying is your biggest issue with what's happening now is you didn't also greenlight the attacks? And that seems to be where Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer are the most upset about. Because Chuck Schumer, in a similar statement, today, Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer released the following statement after President Trump announced the United States struck targets in Iran. President Trump must provide the American people and Congress clear answers on actions taken tonight, their implications for the safety of Americans. No president should be allowed to unilaterally march this nation into something as consequential as war with erratic threats and no safety. Confronting Iran's ruthless campaign of terror, nuclear ambitions, and regional aggression demands strength, resolve, and strategic clarity. The danger of a wider, longer, and more devastating war has now dramatically increased. Iran's ruthless campaign of terror? Where? What are you talking about? Like, again, why are you buying in all the same talking points? This is Trumpism light. We must enforce the War Powers Act. I'm urging Leader Thune to put it on the Senate floor immediately. I'm voting for it and implore all senators on both sides of the aisle to vote for it. So this is what they're trying to do. Mind you, they have not even been briefed about what's been happening. They not only were not told, I think they were told within minutes, an hour. I don't know. Axios has a report that says that they were completely left in the dark. Maybe there was we tried to call you. Sorry, your line was busy. Oops. So they're going to receive a classified briefing on Tuesday. That's tomorrow. And then Tulsi Gabbard, DNI director, postponed a briefing with them on Wednesday on the Senate Intelligence Committee because she's like, I don't know. I'm not in the room. I don't even know what's going on. So first, I have to be led into the Signal chat. And then, then I'll let you know. I don't know. I'm sorry. No say. So again, this is where the Democratic Party is just well, this is a brutal, ruthless regime of terror. Okay, even you saying that immediately justifies these targeted strikes, right? There's not a lot of daylight here. A couple weeks ago, Senator Schumer was saying, oh, Taco Trump, no side deals with Iran. How dare you? What you mean? He was mad. He was mad that there was diplomacy. 2-3 weeks ago? Now he's saying he's mad that there's strikes. Which is it, Chucky? Or you haven't checked in with your Democratic AIPAC handlers. They haven't drafted the talking points for you quite right. It's so pathetic. It's so pathetic that this is the kind of shit we see. And on top of that, will Hakeem Jeffries lead the Democratic caucus to vote for a War Powers Act? He hasn't taken a look at the War Powers resolution yet.
Would you support the Ro Khanna War Powers resolution? I haven't taken a look at it. Thanks.
Do you support the Ro Khanna War Powers Resolution Act? Haven't taken a look at it. I feel like maybe you should. Are you jealous it wasn't you who suggested it? Or are you just receiving, again, that money? What? Where are we on this? And this is, leads us to a broader question and a broader point, which is the Democratic Party is worthless unless they loudly and forcefully stand against war genocide, occupation, and anti-Arab racism. Like, what are we doing here? Being against the Iraq War was the reason that Barack Obama was elected in 2008. Who among us could have seen that a black man named Barack Hussein Obama would be elected in a landslide? Well, if you were paying attention to the mood of the country and you saw that Hillary Clinton was like, yeah, I'm super for the war. Let's keep going. Let's attack Iran. Nobody wanted the war hawks of the Democratic Party. And Obama was undeniable. Now, of course, he expanded the drones. Of course, he expanded detentions. He did not dismantle the apparatus of the war on terror that was set up domestically that Bush handed him. All of that. But what did Trump do? He read the room. Trump can read the room. This is what's so gross about Democrats who cannot read the room. Even when Trump knows he's taking AIPAC money, knows he's taking Miriam Adelson Israeli lobby money, he still reads the room to say what people want to hear. He lies to them and says, makes fun of Biden for supporting, the death and murder of Palestinians, goes in campaigns in, Dearborn, Michigan with Arab Americans saying, I'm going to be the peace president. He can read the room, right? He knows that the majority of voters in this country are not for war, right? Now, it's different when it could be his war. It's different when he could get the shine. It's different when he thinks he's high IQ and he can solve the Middle East. It's different when Palantir has something to gain. It's different when he's in power. But when it comes to getting elected, they know what to say. When it comes to amassing a movement, they're going to use the anti-war lane. You know why? Because it's empty. Nobody's in it. No, there's no Democrat, no leading Democrats. AOC is calling for Trump's impeachment over this. That's the spirit. But go further. No more aid to Israel, period. They're a liability. They're dragging our entire country into war. They're the greatest purveyors of violence in the Middle East. They're the greatest tramplers of international law. Say it. Say it with your whole chest. Say it 10 toes down. We, meaning the Democratic Party broadly, should be the anti-war party. But that was all snuffed out when, after months of protests, fucking soft serve brain Joe Biden, Zionists over here, ignored his own voters, ignored them all, and handed his sloppy seconds over to Kamala Harris, who continued to ignore them, who continued to ignore the vast majority. It's not right or left, y'all. It's not. It really is. I don't like killing kids. Can we stop killing kids? Anyone? The majority of voters agree with that. The majority of people, the majority of humans agree with that. Trump knows how to read the room. Democrats couldn't read the room if there was a fucking script. These people need to be out of power immediately. Chuck Schumer needs to resign tomorrow. We need far more support than this. But again, it's wartime. It's war. They kind of like this. We've always kind of liked Iran. I mean, we all love to deep throat John McCain, the ghost of John McCain, who always wanted to invade Iran. We always love to herald John McCain. He's a maverick. He's a good guy. He's actually a great Republican who always wanted to invade Iran. This is, again, you're getting your wish. You invading Iran. You're gutting Social Security. You're gutting Medicaid. You're gutting Medicare. Don't act like you're like we're just waking up to the reality of who the Republicans are and they've wanted this for so long. And so it's so pathetic that we have statements and we have the War Powers Act. Look, I do think that there should be congressional approval, but what if there was? Is that any better? That's like, okay, we just wanted to make sure you were going to tell us so we could give our stamp of approval. Go ahead, do it so we can see which side you're on here. What we can see whether you actually believe in human rights, international law, because you already violated it. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I hope that there obviously is a war powers resolution passed, but like I said, I think it's just not enough. I am. I can't with this. But here's the caliber of people who are on CNN right now. Oh, sorry. Did I just mean to jump scare you with some Van Jones? Here is Van, fallen from grace. So far, he is deep levels into the Earth's core. Van Jones, man who used to be a revolutionary Marxist, man who used to speak out, man who used to was part of the Barack Obama administration, specifically working on, what was it, green jobs? Wasn't that his thing? And then I guess the paychecks started rolling in from CNN, from his, him and Newt Gingrich sort of like fingering one another on television, him just trying to like meet people in the middle. I read his whole book. I read his book. I have Van Jones's number right now. I could call him right now. We'll see what he has to say. I've been so close to calling him, because here he is on CNN, and this is the caliber of commentator on CNN. Van Jones, who was working with the Trump administration while he was a CNN contributor and never divulged that. Van Jones, who is so much more spooked of the left than he is of the actual fascists. This man is such a disgrace, and now we know exactly, look, I think he's got some kids. They might be going through college. Shit is expensive, but we know he's getting paid.
He's buying himself some time in some room. I was also in the Holy Land very recently. I think progressives underestimate.
Wait, where were you in the Holy Land? I was in the Holy Land. I hate when people say Holy Land. Even just saying Holy Land is just weird. That's like, again, that's the brochure. That's the like, oh, okay, so you were in Jerusalem? You were going on a little trip. You were in Israel. Oh, you were in Israel? Oh, you did a little Hasbarist tour of Israel. They paid your way. Did you fly first class? Must have been cool. 5-star hotel, tight. Did you go to the beaches? I hear they're great. Don't go too far down, because there's just a lot of destruction and blood in the water over there. Not a lot of food. But you were in the Holy Land, tight.
Recently, I think progressives underestimate how dangerous Iran is. Iran is not a normal country. Normal countries don't blind women because they showed some hair. They don't empower little gangs and proxies to surround a country and fire rockets and rape people. So
gangs of proxies. He's talking about Hamas. He's using the trope also of this country is so backwards that it has to be targeted. This doesn't sound like nuclear strikes. This sounds like you don't agree with the culture. There's something in there. This is a lot more than that. Progressives need to take the threat of Iran to us. What about progressives in Iran? Progressives in Iran have been knowing about their authoritarianism in that country. You know what striking Iran has done, Van? It's only hardened the Iranian right. It's only coalesced support for their government. We'll talk about this tomorrow on the show with my guest. Remember the woman life freedom movement? Yes, women are policed and controlled for showing too much hair under their hijab. But like, you think that striking them, bombing them is going to help those women? That's so cute. I mean, truly, 2003, 2 called, and they want their fucking talking point back.
Iran, the two things are clear. The what, they cannot have a bomb, and the why, because they say death to America, death to Israel, and death to all the Jews. One of those should offend you if you're progressive. At least one should offend you. And so the question, though, is the who and the how. Is Israel going to take out this nuclear capacity by dropping people there who blow it up? or is America going to take it out by dropping a bomb that blows it up? But the what and the why are clear, and I think progressives should get on board with that. We cannot have a nuclear armed Iran. I was in the region. You were in the region. This is a very dangerous power that cannot get a nuclear weapon.
Oh, man. You know, the Zionists really, they just got their money's worth. You know, we got Van Jones doing the Hasbara's talking points. Like, they invested in this dude, and that is what they got. You know, progressives got to get on board. Death to America, death to Israel. One of those things should offend you. Get all the flowery language out of your system, Van. Yes. I mean, just let me know. Like, let me know how much it's for. You know what I'm saying? Just let me know. Look, I hawk products on my show. People want the full disclosure. I'll let you know how much. I think it's actually fair. It's all part of like a CPM situation. You know, one streamer's CBD is another's genocidal ethno-state. I mean, it's so pathetic. It is so pathetic that this is someone who people look to when it comes to, racial injustice, prisons and policing, and that he is now doing the same thing. The other thing that the Israel lobby does is they prey on Black influencers, Black commentators, Black politicians, you know, right? And deliberately pit these things against one another, also play on the stereotype that Black Americans are anti-Semitic, right? And they buy them out. And so suddenly they have simultaneously, Black Americans somehow have more clout and more responsibility to launder Israel's war crimes. It's truly disgusting. And like, I didn't expect to see it from him, but there you go. He spoke at also remember one of the first rallies for Israel that he was like, not another Palestinian baby, not another Israeli baby. And when he said Palestinian baby, everyone was like, awkward. We want them dead. Oh, Van. Yeah, I can't believe it's real either, AJ Nestor. Hey guys, this has been an impromptu Monday stream. And you know what would make my day is if you became a Patron, patreon.com/bitchuation room. Support the show. I am tired. My entire body hurts. I am happy to break this down with you. You give me purpose and I enjoy it. Would I rather do a million other things? Probably. No. Patreon.com/bitchuation room. Support the show. $5 a month, $10 a month, the price of an expensive cocktail that isn't even that good. And we also I have so many live shows coming up. I can't even keep track, but August 1st and 2nd, I'm going to be in Seattle. August 1st is a Friday, Seattle Laughs Comedy. Me and Matt are co-headlining. Also on August 2nd, we're going to be at the Rainier Arts Center for a live Bitchuation room. Get your tickets. You should be able to get them on, maybe in the description, Eventbrite, whatever, Bitchuation room. Get the tickets. Also, if you're in Pasadena, July 5th, New World Disorder, my show once again. And Houston on August 28th at the Houston Punchline. Come see me, Texas. Me and Matt are co-headlining. It's going to be a really good show. You can also, if you want to support the show on Substack, become a paid member. You can also send a badge on Instagram. I know I'm streaming. You can become a member on Twitch, and you can become a member on YouTube, like our dear Smoke and Shadow Dragon. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Also, 64 Commuter, appreciate you. Thank you, Albert Hugh, saying, if MAGA claims they're America first, I'd like to ask what the average American citizen stands to gain from the Iran war. Exactly. I think they're dropping the America first, you know? DA says, please call Mr. Van Jones now. Get him. I mean, it would be so much fun to get. I just don't. It's a whole other story. By the way, the New York election, everybody, do not rank Cuomo. Michael Blake was going to join me, but he's been in back-to-back interviews. But that's okay. Rank Zoran. We all know and love Zoran. Michael Blake is from the South Bronx. He's a former assemblyman in New York State. He also has been hammering Cuomo. I'd urge you to put him on your ranking as well. But New York, we can do this. Y'all can do this. I believe in you. I support it. Let's see. Robert says a ranked choice election. Mario Cuomo is the rank choice. That's funny. I like that. It's also, it's not Mario. It's the other one, Andrew. I always forget. There's so many of them. Chris, Andrew, Mario, West Side Mike Boy. I would get a membership, but I don't know how to do it on my phone. My laptop is way over there. Okay, well, thank you for your super chat. Ali Bubble, thank you so much for being a member. Franny, the progressive movement chose you. You're very, very sweet. And Terry Poole, thank you for saying glad to hear from a sane person. And again, Benjamin, thank you so much for your support. And Narnia Chick says the world after Trump has a funny acronym. I had to highlight this because twat is so funny. That is friggin' hilarious. Oh my God. I didn't even notice that. But everybody go watch my video, my long form video into the Broligarchy. Thank you, Kowalczyk, for liking this channel. Sir Ruin of House Roundhead. Midnight Hammer makes me think of MC Hammer. Stop Hammer Time. Maybe Pete is a fan of MC Hammer, or maybe he was just hammered. I mean, he definitely had the drink that night. Thank you, Chet, also for gifting that sub. Hope you all enjoyed the stream. I will see you tomorrow. Iranian journalist Nigar Mortasavi is going to be on, as well as Liza Featherstone, to talk all about the New York election. Until tomorrow, fight the power, fuck the patriarchy, free Palestine. Don't just bitch about it, be about it. Later.